My name is AZURIANI binti KHAIRUL HISYAM, and my partner is FATIN NAZIRAH binti SAPUANI. Here is our project. The name of our project is Space Management System. My partner, FATIN NAZIRAH, will introduce more detail about our system.
There is a problem in our world, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the current situation, we must maintain a distance of at least 1 meter from each other to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So, we will implement a project named Space Management System. The concept of this system is to limit the number of visitors entering the premise according to the area of the premise to prevent the place from being crowded. This system will track how many visitors have entered the premise, and it will display the current amount of visitors at the doorstep of the premises. When the number of visitors has reached its limit, the microcontroller on buzzer will emit a sound. The objective of this project is to identify the area of a premise to limit the number of visitors entering the premise at one time according to the area of the premise. We have identified the area of the premise by manually calculating the area of the premise to find out how many visitors can enter the premise at one time. Objective number 2 is to display a number of visitors who are in the premise at a certain time based on the area of the premise. The system will track how many visitors have entered the premise and display the current amount of visitors at the doorstep of the premise. Objective number 3 is to provide an alarm to prevent visitors from over-entering the premise at one time. When the number of visitors has reached its limit, the alarm will on to indicate a warning for visitors not to entering the premise.
The owner of the premise can set a limitation, and the number of the limitation will display on the screen at the front door of your premises. When the number exceeds the set limit, the alarm will emit a sound to give a warning to the visitor, and one of the visitors in the premise must exit from the premise to stop the alarm from ringing. The reason we choose this system because we have seen many premises still using the manual way to count the amount of the visitor. For example, the maximum number of people to come in one time is 30% only. So the employee need to give each one of the visitor the card number, and before the visitor leaving the premise, they need to return the card number to the employee. Why do I suggest this system? It is because it's only using the low cost. As you can see here, we're using the 16:2 LCD display, the IR sensor for the front door and the back door, and then at the back of the LCD display we're using the I2C, and then the buzzer here, Arduino, breadboard, and LED light in here. Okay. And a few jumper wires. So it also can be implemented anyway, and it saves time and save the energy of the employee, and the employee doesn't need to give card number to each one of the visitor. For the security in the system, and here the buzzer will emit a sound when visitor over entering in the premise. This buzzer will alert the visitor for not over entering in the premise.
To
change this IR sensor. It is because this IR sensor will keep counting if the person stand for a long time in front of the IR sensor. I will show it to you. I will put my hand in front of the IR sensor. So, for the better system, we need to change this IR sensor. That's all from me, AZURIANI binti KHAIRUL HISYAM, and my partner FATIN NAZIRAH binti SAPUANI. Assalamualaikum.